So you know us, we love The Ring. That was our
Our make Facebook accounts of her because I was obsessed and
we were obsessed. What's right? Because we called her Samara, but is that actually her name in The Ring? The monster.
her name in the Scary Movie one. Isn't she called Tabitha?
Is it Tabitha? Yeah, no, it's is it Tabitha or Samara?
Well, I think Samara's in the Scary Movie 3 one. I think that's where you get the name from. But I've always had Samara or Tabitha as the name, like the Ring name of the girl. That's it. Samara, Sadako, Yamamura, Anna Morgan. Oh wait, no. I think it's Samara from the actor.
Yeah. We were such nerds. We used to make a Facebook account for Samara. Yeah. Do you remember we used to post and say happy birthday to Samara because her birthday was on Halloween?
I actually got an notification last October and I was like, oh my god, I still have that account running.
Obviously, we're talking about the American remake, as obviously there is a Japanese original, which we did watch, I think, back in high school, because I do remember, I think, watching it, but it was such a while ago that, you know, obviously a lot of it is very similar, but a lot of it's very different. But it did still scare me. I do remember it still scaring me, the original, because I do remember the main bit where the girl comes out the TV, and it's just like I can't, to this day, out of all the horror films, The Ring, both the original and the remake, still is the scariest film ever for me, like, because it's just so fucking creepy.
And you know, it's so weird, like, and you'll remember it now, how like the characters of Katie, Sarah, and Dave were in it, weren't they, or something?
Was this in the American remake?
This was in the American remake, yeah, because when she died and stuff, it was like Katie was the girl, and then obviously, and then there was Sarah and. When I was like, I said, that's weird because that's your mum and dad's name and your name, and I was like, you're first.
You know what? I just remembered the second scariest bit, other than the bit where she's coming out TV, the jump scare bit where it's like, you should have saw her face, and then it just like cut to Katie's face.
Oh my god, yes, I hate
that bit is so scary, literally.
And I hate when Noah dies in it though, like when eventually she comes out at the end and then she starts coming out and he starts knocking all over them like big like draw set things and stuff, and then she eventually gets him and then she comes back and finds him. Like, I felt sorry when Noah died.
I know. But like that film, it's so like eerie. Like it just gives me the creeps. Like it really does. Like there's something about like not just in The Ring, but there's this thing in horrors like where like, you know, little ghost girls are always the scariest. Like, you know, like they've always got the stereotypical white dress and the long dark hair. It's like similar to The Grudge and other like kind of Japanese films as well. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very strange. It's like, because you can talk about The Grudge and that, because obviously when you had Sarah Michelle Gellar, who obviously was in the first two, but then obviously, like, spoiler alert, obviously when she survived the original, like, you know, the remake of The Grudge, obviously, but then in the second one she was like hospitalized or something, and then obviously she had like, you know, that, and then she escaped and she ran onto the roof and she died, and then when her sister found her, when her sister left and stuff, she's seen like the Grudge, or I think it was like the boyfriend or something, seen the Grudge just lying on top of her like that, staring at them, because obviously
I can't remember. Do you know what? The Grudge is another one that really scares me, like kind of alongside The Ring. But I can't really remember a lot of what happened in The Grudge, other than you know the bit where like the girl like is running away from it and she like hides under the bed sheets and then she gets under the bed sheets.
Oh my god, is that like when she's in? Wait, is this The Ring or The Grudge?
The Grudge.
Is it where it's the like, Japanese girl and then she's in that bedroom and like the guy's showering or something, and then scene.
Yeah, that's the Grudge with the the long black hair and it ties around everyone and stuff.
Yeah, because obviously they had like it was the first Grudge, like the remake with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and they also had I don't know what the other girl's called, but she was in Aquamarine. She's a legend, and she's been in quite a few horror films actually. And obviously the friends were getting like killed off, but the Japanese girl was like I think sleeping with this like older guy, and she went to like one of them like hotels and stuff. And while
Which
he was
film's
down,
this? Sorry again.
The Grudge, like the first one, like the
Oh
remake.
yeah.
And I remember like obviously the Japanese girl was like with this like man, like obviously getting ready to like have sex and whatever. But then obviously something happened because obviously the Grudge came after her because she was in the sheets and she thought it was the guy, and then she realised it wasn't because the guy.
Oh, I
And
hate
then,
that.
I don't know if the guy, they must have found her and stuff, but I think she was like behind the bed, but it was weird because it was the bed. Then there was like a bit of a gap, and then there was the mirror, so you wouldn't think there was a gap there. So I think that's where she was when it all happened and stuff, or I think she just like disappeared under the bed sheets or something like that. It was one of them. But
And you
yeah,
know what other film I found scary that we watched it is a remake. It's an American remake, but originally it was like either Japanese, Korean, Asian. Was that Shutter film? You know
yeah,
when you took the
like the
pictures.
yeah,
Yeah, do you know what bit scared me in that as well? Where like at the end where the guy takes a picture of himself and she's like sat on his
it's just
shoulders. Oh, I hate that.
that is awful. That is disgraceful.
Oh, I know. But yeah, what else is there to say about the ring?
Like it kind of like shows like obviously like the one like main female lead in it and stuff is she called Katie, or is Katie the one who gets killed in it?
No, Kate. Well, I can't remember. I know Naomi Watts played her, but I can't remember her name.
Yeah, so obviously the main girl who was obviously the one dating Noah in it and stuff, like obviously she's kind of like, figuring out like what to do, but it's the fact that she takes it into her own hands and then she watches the tape and then she tries to do something to reverse it all, and she finds a way to kind of like bring the whole thing down and stuff. And I think that's the one thing that I like, because I think when it came to like other people wouldn't know how to figure that out. Whereas like
Yeah,
she did, and
and it's
obviously
always the way with like the female leads in like horrors, like her Naomi Watts' character, Rachel's character, like in a lot of horror films with like female leads, like they always are perceived like crazy people, like no one will believe you.
yeah.
You're just a crazy woman with a wild imagination, like Rachel in The Ring and everything. And people thought she was going like way too deep into it. And yeah, no, it turns out she wasn't and everything.
So I mean, because like when all these like deaths start, because this is what annoys me with horror films as well, because you feel like you want to be in it because you know the answer, but it annoys me like when you've got the girl who knows everything and then everyone around her starts dying, so they think it's her, and then you try and come and arrest her, and obviously she's going to run her because obviously it's not her, it's obviously what she's been saying to them, but there's always a way that mixes them in to make them look very like as if they're criminals really and stuff, and it annoys you because you're like, oh my god, I just want to help.
I know, and like I think unlike other some other horror films, like Rachel's character, if you remember, she was quite sympathetic with Samara's character because she was only a little girl that got drowned by her mother. Obviously, when she found the body, she was very emotional and she thought, you know, it's ended and everything. Like that's it. But then obviously, the Samara comes out the TV and kills Noah, doesn't she?
Like the one thing that I hate is like when she was like trapped in the well and there was all like the hair in the water and like the
Oh,
scraping. And I thought, I mean, and I love like that attention to detail, like where a lot of horror films won't go into detail about things, but I think like you would look at someone who was trapped, like locked away somewhere, and it would look pristine and perfect. Whereas I loved how in the well it's shown like all the scratches, them fingernails, and just everything that represented what her life was like and stuff. And I love how they really brought that into the film and projected it. So